How's it going, everybody? By popular demand, I've decided to create an audio podcast to go along with NYY Recaps. It's called The Frieze by NYY Recaps. I'm going to release the first version right here on YouTube, the first episode. I had to create an episode in order to submit to Apple Podcast and Spotify. It should be live in a couple of days, probably Spotify tomorrow, probably Apple Podcast in a few days, at which point you can subscribe, and then it'll be right there in your podcast stream every morning, and you'll be able to listen to the nightly recaps after I get on and talk about what just happened in the game. Somebody's going to edit it, upload it to the podcast software, and it will be live the next morning. And then I'll also get on there and do topical podcasts like the one you're about to listen to about the Yankees offense. So just wanted to share this with you. I'm excited about it. I hope you're excited about it. There's plenty of room for more podcasts out there, so feel free to give it a try, see if you like it. And if you like it, subscribe, come back, whatever. I'll see you next time. Here's the podcast. You're listening to The Frieze by NYY Recaps. I'm your host, Derek Lewandowski. Let's get started. I've been getting inundated with requests from my YouTube channel for people who wanted me to create an audio version of the podcast, NYY Recaps. I will have the nightly recaps coming directly from YouTube to this podcast, but I'm also going to have a lot of original material. It won't all be Yankee related. I will talk to other baseball people. I'm hoping to interview celebrities and other folks who might be connected with baseball, or just talk baseball with interesting people. The Frieze, in case you didn't know, is that arching structure that goes along the Yankees upper deck. For many years it was on the original upper deck, and then it was moved to the area beyond the outfield wall after the stadium was renovated in the 70s, and now it is once again on the upper deck at the new stadium. It's kind of an iconic image for Yankees fans. So I thought it would be a good and appropriate way to name the podcast. So why did I create this podcast other than people were requesting it? Well, I've had a lot of success with YouTube. YouTube has gone very, very well for me in terms of the Yankees channel. And so I wanted to just see if I could expand it out a little bit, talk to more people, find new ways to get to people. Not everybody watches YouTube. A lot of people just plug in those earphones and listen to a podcast on their way to work. And with Yankee Stadium open to full capacity beginning in July, I thought it would be a good time to add a little bit of competition to the mix. I'm a big fan of the other Yankees podcasts. I love R2C2. I love Talking Yanks, View from 314 Feet, NYYST. I like all these guys, but I feel like there is room for more. There's room for a nuanced baseball discussion. I've been a fan for over 30 years. I've played baseball at pretty much every level except professionally. I've been an umpire. I've been a coach. I've been a scout. And I've gone years and years at a time without missing a single Yankees game. And so I consider myself a subject matter expert. You don't have to believe my opinions. You don't have to take everything that I say as 100% truth. I will try and make this both a learning experience and an entertaining experience. I'm not afraid to talk a little bit of trash if somebody's playing poorly, like Aaron Hicks, who can't buy a hit right now, like Gleyber Torres, who swings for the fences every time. I'm not afraid to say what I really think and tell you how it really is. So if you're looking for lip service to Yankees fans that are going to tell you what you want to hear, that everything is always sunshine and rainbows, this is not going to be the podcast for you. In this first episode, I'd like to talk about why the Yankees are bad this season. They currently entered tonight's game at 11 wins and 14 losses. They are in fourth place in the American League. They have a 62.6% chance to make the postseason and 7.1% to win the World Series. I guess those odds aren't terrible. But they're far below average in terms of their offense, their defense, and their base running. A quick trip to baseballreference.com reveals alarming OPS numbers for the Yankees. So OPS is on base plus slugging. The league average is somewhere around 750 to 780 in a given season. The Yankees roster is filled with 400s and 500s and 600s. Let's go in order. Gary Sanchez, their opening day catcher, 639 OPS. That's a 90 OPS plus. So OPS plus is based on the rest of the league. So 100 would be league average. It's an easy way to look at OPS and figure out if a guy is doing above or below league average. So Gary Sanchez is 10% below league average. He's at 90. DJ LeMahieu, arguably the Yankees' best hitter the last couple of years, has a 721 OPS, 114 OPS plus. Rougned Odor has a 640 OPS, an 86 OPS plus. Gleyber Torres, 606 and 81. Gio Urshela, 769 and 123. Now you might say, hey Derek, you just told me that league average OPS was about 780 or 750. Well, this year it is down a little bit. So some of these guys like Gio Urshela can have a 123 OPS plus while still having only a 769 OPS. So slugging is down in the league. Clint Frazier has a 542 OPS and a 62 OPS plus. Aaron Hicks, perhaps the biggest offender on the Yankees roster, 499 OPS, 47 OPS plus. Aaron Judge, 874 OPS, 155 OPS plus. So he's at least showing up when he's in the lineup. The Yankees have had to rest him a couple of times for back-to-back days. I don't blame them. You want to keep this guy healthy. He's the only guy performing. Giancarlo Stanton hasn't been terrible. 783 OPS, 126 OPS plus. He leads the team with both 6 home runs and is tied for the team lead with 15 RBIs with Gio Urshela. The bench doesn't get much better. Frankly, Brett Gardner is terrible. 507 OPS, 52 OPS plus. Jay Bruce, retired. Doesn't even matter what his OPS is. Kyle Higashioka, doing fantastic. 1.122 OPS, 219 OPS plus. And that's why he has basically taken over the catcher's job for the Yankees. Mike Ford, 778 OPS, 125 OPS plus. He's actually done pretty well despite only having a 158 batting average. He has walked 4 times and hit 2 home runs in just 23 plate appearances. He's got pop. I think that average is going to come up. I think he's going to be quite valuable until Luke Voit gets back. And everything that I'm hearing about Luke Voit is that the Yankees want to give him some reps and get those legs in shape. He's had issues with his legs and feet in the past, had the knee issue. They want to make sure that he's properly built up and strong going into 2021 whenever he begins. It might not be until mid or late May, but you can bet that Mike Ford's going to get at least a couple more weeks. So why have we seen this catastrophic fall off in offense from the Yankees, one of the league's best offenses over the past several years, over the past couple of decades, hell, over the past century? Well, league-wide offense is down in general, but I don't like to use that as an excuse because if the Yankees were at the top of the league offense when things were going well league-wide, they should still be near the top when things are going poorly, but for some reason they've regressed farther than everyone. They're down near the bottom, and you can say, hey, look, it's just a cold month. It's been a cold 25 games, which, by the way, that's a lot of games. 25 games can make or break your season if they go bad enough. But I don't think it's just the cold weather. A lot of teams are dealing with cold weather. I don't think it's just guys coming out of spring training having not taken enough at-bats. I think it's a combination of a couple of different factors. The Yankees hunt fastballs. That's how you create exit velocity. It's become clear because the Yankees have acquired many, many guys who have very high exit velocity, that they value that metric. They think of exit velocity very highly. Their thought is to find people who can hit the ball very hard and teach them to hit fly balls, and that will in turn create a lot of home runs. The Yankees seem to double and triple down on this when they got Rougned Odor, and with everybody that they bring to the team, they try and turn them into a power hitter. Now, granted, this has worked on a few occasions. Curtis Granderson saw a boom in his power after he came to the Yankees. Didi Gregorius showed a huge increase in power after he came to the Yankees. A lot of guys have seen enormous power eruptions after coming to the Bronx. But, in an age when everybody's trying to hit home runs, pitchers are successfully making the counter move. Pitchers are not throwing fastballs in the zones that the hitters drive them out of the ballpark. They're not giving Stanton the pitches that he can lift in the air. They're saying hit the ball as hard as you want on the ground. They're pitching these guys situationally, which means the Yankees need to hit situationally. Now, when you're trying to avoid exit velocity, you want to go softer. We've seen the Yankees make this approach with their own pitching staff. They've got a lot of guys throwing a lot of changeups. Rather than hanging sliders that can speed up your bat, or just trying to blow fastballs by guys and giving up home runs, we're seeing guys like Garrett Cole vastly increase their changeup usage, which is allowing him to keep the ball in the ballpark. Just one home run allowed through the first 30-plus innings for Garrett Cole. The bullpen, especially Jonathan Loaisiga, despite taking the loss yesterday, giving up a run that had no business being on base due to that dumb Manfred rule. But Loaisiga throwing his changeup a lot more. Domingo Germán, who was outstanding against the Orioles the other night, throwing the changeup a lot more. And it's a really good changeup. Matt Blake, the Yankees pitching coach, has been fantastic at developing the changeup and helping guys use it effectively. But other teams are doing it too. And the Yankees hitters have not made the same adjustment that the Yankees pitchers have made. Yankees hitters are still hunting fastballs. They're swinging through the fastball up in the zone because they're trying to lift the ball out of the ballpark. And then when it's low in the zone, typically it's breaking balls, it's changeups, and they're pounding these balls into the dirt. The Yankees are taking the wrong approach. The next thing I want to talk about is the Yankees minor league system, which is lacking high-end talent at the upper end of the system. Got a lot of good younger guys like Jason Dominguez and Anthony Volpe and Austin Wells, but we're kind of lacking those guys who can step in and maybe put the bat on the ball. Before I get into that, though, I wanted to remind you that you can get free shipping and 20% off of all purchases by visiting manscaped.com and entering the code NYY Recaps. Your balls will thank you. They announced yesterday briefly that Jason Dominguez was going to be playing in the Hudson Valley this summer. And look, I grew up in the Hudson Valley watching the Renegades, and I was excited. I was getting ready to book my tickets. But that was retracted. And now we're going to get Jason Dominguez opening up at the extended spring training site in Tampa. And then from there, he'll likely go to the Tampa Tarpons and begin his minor league journey. I don't know how long he'll be in the minor leagues. I mean, that's really a wild card. If he's as good as they say, and he just plows through the minor leagues, I mean, how do you keep him down there next season? Especially the way that Aaron Hicks is playing. If Aaron Hicks has a Gary Sanchez-like season where he hits 170 this year, you'd have to at least be tempted if Jason Dominguez goes berserker, as a lot of us think he will. Just from watching his swing, he's got amazing bat speed. He's got great balance from both sides of the plate. He hits the ball out front. It makes a very loud sound, which means he makes very good contact. We've seen him tossing on the side, and the radar gun showed 96 miles an hour. We've seen him run the 30-yard dash in about 3 seconds. That's Mike Trout speed. But he's going to open up in the low end of the minor leagues because he's never played a minor league game before. But let's say Jason Dominguez, through his first 30 games at A-ball, hits 375 with 8 home runs. At that point, you know he's not really gaining much from that level because he's just dominating it. You have to move him up. So let's say you move him up to High A, Hudson Valley, and he plays 30 games there, and he hits 360 with 7 home runs. Well, now all of a sudden he's played half of a minor league season, and he's hitting well over 300 with 15 home runs. We know about the physical tools. You have to consider playing him at Double A next year or Triple A as a 19-year-old. And if he succeeds there, we've seen a lot of guys jump from Double A to the major leagues. It happened with Juan Soto. And a lot of times your best minor league competition is in Double A. At Triple A, it's a lot of replacement player types, guys who are journeymen back and forth to the major league roster and the minor leagues. But at Double A, you get your blue chip prospects like Jason Dominguez will be. I think there's a real chance that if Hicks struggles and Jason Dominguez lives up to the hype this summer, that we could see Jason Dominguez as a teenager in the Bronx next year. It has happened before. So despite him being the youngest major prospect that we have, I think he could be the one that has the impact the soonest. There is Austin Wells. I think that he could be impactful. He's a catching prospect who has had some arm issues, but he's got a legitimate major league bat from everything that we've heard. He actually got invited to spring training this year and put on a show. Didn't appear in many games, but I like his swing. I like his approach at the plate. He took some close pitches. He looked like he had some speed on the bases. So Austin Wells could be a factor, although I'm not sure exactly how he fits in. He's a catcher / first baseman, and you'd hate to call up a minor league player to be a part-time player, although he could be kind of a weird super utility player that also includes catcher as part of his duties. We'll see. I am interested to see what Estevan Florial can do this year in the minor leagues. He hasn't played much above low A. He did appear in the major leagues last year. He's a guy whose athletic ability really stands out to me. He's got that gliding stride of Bernie Williams. Just brings up images in my mind of Bernie tracking balls down in Death Valley. He's got a great left-handed stroke. It's a little long at times, but he can drive the ball to both left field and right field. And he's got massive speed. So if he hits one in a gap, it's like a double, triple. It's Curtis Granderson time. The Yankees love him. He's got a good arm, too. He's a good defensive player. He throws right despite batting left. Estevan Florial could be a factor. If Aaron Hicks continues to struggle or if he gets hurt, Florial is really their youngest real option to come in and step in and play every day now that they've traded Mike Tauchman. But other than that, the Yankees don't have a lot of high-end prospects who can make a big impact. You do have Chris Gittens, who led the minor leagues in exit velocity, and he homers all the time in spring training. But he's a first baseman. The Yankees already have Luke Voit coming back. The Yankees roster is just constructed poorly on both the major league and minor league levels. If I'm Brian Cashman, I'm working on a deal. I'm going to try and unload Gary Sanchez, maybe Aaron Hicks if I can, and I'm going to try and get some athletic players. They don't have to be guys who stand out statistically, especially with the home runs. I'm fine picking up some guys who are contact hitters who have good bat-to-ball skills, a little bit of speed, and bring their glove with them when they come to the ballpark. I want some super utility types, some Ben Zobrist types, some Brad Miller types. Solid baseball players that you can move around, that can make contact, that can put the ball in play, that can bunt, that can hit and run, that can get in there and steal you a bag, that can come in late in the game and make a good defensive play. The tough as nails Lenny Dykstra type. That's what we need. Unfortunately for Brian Cashman, guys like Gary Sanchez and Aaron Hicks, because of their performance on the field and partially because of Aaron Hicks' contract, these guys aren't going to have a ton of value. So the Yankees may have to include a prospect that they don't want to give up. They do have a couple of minor league prospects at the same position. They've got Anthony Siegler, who's a catcher. Do you value him more than you value Austin Wells? Or do you value Austin Wells more? Does one of those guys become expendable? You could move a Anthony Volpe, although I wish they wouldn't because I like his small stature. He's a guy who's known for contact. That's exactly what the Yankees need. He's been compared to Alex Bregman, so you don't want to give him up. So the Yankees are going to have to get creative to figure their way out of this mess, because even if offense comes back and the Yankees start hitting home runs, we've seen the fundamental play, the base running, the defense. They've been issues this year. The Yankees are far from a perfect baseball team. And to become the juggernaut that they want to become, to even dream of beating the Los Angeles Dodgers, they're going to have to become a more well-rounded baseball team. You can tune in to the Frieze here, wherever you get your podcasts. I will be posting this first audio version also on YouTube just to introduce people to the Frieze. If you'd like to be a guest, or you have questions, or you want to send me your hot takes, email me at nyyrecapsdaily@gmail.com. That's nyyrecapsdaily@gmail.com. And occasionally I'll hop on here and I'll answer questions, or I'll bring on a guest. But you can expect the nightly recaps to appear in your morning podcast feed. Each morning when you get up and head to work, you can listen to me talk about the Yankees. I'll see you next time.